everyone. We, of course, are glad you guys could join us for another Talk It Over. In our series Book Club, which so far has been really, really good. Really enjoying it so far. I just want to welcome you, Leanne and Carolyn, for joining me today. Appreciate you guys having me here and getting kind of some of this discussion going with our Talk It Over. But before we dive too deep in there, a little recap. How are things been the past week-ish for you guys?
My week was good. It was just a bit crazy. Emmett had this odd cold fever flu thing. I don't know. We ended up in Emerge one day to make sure that he was okay. And it was just really busy with like work stuff, and it was hot outside, which you know better than I do. And I don't know, it just felt a bit of a scrambly week, but I'm thankful that Emmett's feeling better, doing better. Everything's back to normal now, so next week will be better.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yes. My week's been busy because, of course, I don't have kids in school anymore, but I work with kids who are in school. So everyone's really tired. And parents are, you guys can confer, you're done. The year should be done. Teachers are done. Kids are done. Everyone's tired. Yeah. But exciting news, we were able to bring on a new employee to our company and new disciplines. So lots of dreaming and building. And so, yeah, so it's an exciting week, but it's a tiring week, not only for new employees coming on, but also for the boss. You realize how tiring it is onboarding a new employee, but you just got to get your systems in place. So, yeah, it's been good though. How about for you? It was a hot week here in Canada.
Yeah, it's been
I loved
a hot
it,
week
but
in the 40s, and working 8 hours in that is a lot.
Yeah.
By about 2 o'clock, you're just kind of mentally just kind of done with it. The heat's just gotten to the point where you're just kind of mentally exhausted. Physically exhausted as well. I could easily have come home and just had a nap for 2 hours and been completely fine. But yeah, it's been hot. So hopefully, by the looks of it, it should cool off a little bit this week, which will be a little bit nicer. As we kind of head into the end of school for Emmett, he's got this last week, and then he's done, and then he'll be into grade 4.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wild. So yeah, that's been crazy. And yeah, the week of just him kind of being up and down. He looks like he's getting better, and then spikes a fever at the end of the day, and then starts feeling gross. And it's just seen this whole roller coaster up and down with him this past week, with just not feeling well and just being not himself. But seemed to definitely on the mend, definitely better. So he should be good for school tomorrow, and should be.
Yay, sis mom.
Should be good. So yeah, it's been a hot kind of battle through, and then having a guy off work as well, another guy on vacation, so that just changes the workload as well.
Yeah, 40-degree weather.
40-degree weather and one missing guy. It makes it a little bit more interesting to try to get everything done and that. But we managed through it, and I hope he enjoyed his vacation.
Yeah.
I
had a good
know
week.
Mine's coming up, so I'm not going to feel bad when I'm not there, so that's okay. So yeah, let us know, guys. What does that look like for you? What was your weeks? How things been? Please let us know. We would love to hear from you. So yeah, book club this week. Surrender yourself more. It's just very interesting. I've never heard her speak, so it was a new perspective, a new energy. Some of the others I've seen speak before, and so you kind of have an idea of how the flow is going to go. But hers was very much different, but really, for me, it was very practical. Very, the stories, the things she was telling really helped me kind of tie things together. So really enjoyed it. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I do recommend going and watching it. It was an excellent message.
Yeah.
Our key scripture comes from Luke 9, verse 23. And he was saying to them all, if anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Which I think really tied that message quite well together. The whole idea of denying yourself and taking up your cross, I think, are kind of the 2 points for me that really stood out there. So our first question here, who or what are you a fan of? I think we can all say we're fans of things.
Yeah, so I have a couple fan things. So as an occupational therapist, I have my disciplined fans, and like Kim Bartel for OTs is kind of like, oh, Kim's coming to town. We all get a little googly eyed, and she's just an amazing Canadian researcher. Just really helps us define our profession and make things get to help our profession be meaningful to clients and families. And so that's somebody that I'm kind of like, oh, that's really cool. I think I get really excited about different worship groups too. Not Skillet, just saying. It's a little too loud for me, but I love Laura's story, and I'd love to see, I love listening to her music, and it just really resonates with me. And yeah, there's just some music that I just think I can get really excited about.
Yeah.
So
if somebody gave you free tickets.
Oh yeah.
You'd be in the front row.
I'd be there. Yeah.
And I'd be holding your hand saying,
and I would be having our moment.
Yes, we would.
And I think the other one that I just really value is LifeNorth.Church, to be quite honest with you. I am a huge fan of Craig and Amy's, and also their pastoral team. If you ever get the chance to go to a live location, I highly recommend it. Just really dedicated people who just really share the word in a really powerful way, whether you're meeting a host pastor or Life Kids pastor. I just really appreciate them too.
Yeah.
No sports.
You're not a sporty person.
I grew up in a sports family. Hockey, football, thank goodness no basketball, but baseball. So like every season, like
just
coming home.
There's always something. There's always sports going.
And these days, back in my day, because I'm old, you only had one TV in the house. And so what was always on it? Sports.
Yeah.
And Dad had the remote.
Yeah.
Or my siblings. My sister is still a diehard hockey fan.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From day one. My dad would try to watch a Leaf game. She'd scream through the whole game, even as like a 1-year-old. She has loved sports her whole life. And my son is now getting to see the joy of watching his aunt cheer on, because they're down in Florida.
Yeah.
And they're Canadian. So it's this big, who are they voting for?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Who are they cheering for?
Well, tomorrow's the NHL Final Cup, and I wouldn't say by any means I'm a fan of the Panthers or the Oilers, but at the same time, it almost feels like a U.S. versus Canada game, and so I'm a bandwagoner there for sure. Like, I like watching sports and the different teams, and I'll cheer for my local team because that's just what I do. Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. And yeah, I would say I'm a fan of Skillet. We're going to go see a concert with them tonight. Christian rock band, really good. I think I would mostly say I'm a fan of them because I was exposed to them in high school, and then really connected with their music. And so I would go running a lot in high school and listen to their music while I was running. So I was kind of pounding out my frustrations or yelling at me in my ear as I'm running. And it was emotionally healing for me. So, and then I introduced Ian to Skillet because he was looking for a harder core Christian music. And so he got connected with them. And now Emmett loves listening to them too. And it's just so fun watching the family dynamic with it all.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun when you have a family dynamic that's interested, that's fans of the same thing. It makes it kind of fun. Yeah. Because you can all enjoy it kind of simultaneously.
Yeah, I don't get the girl loving vibe in my household full with men. Although with my daughter-in-law, I do get a Laura story. She'll come up and she's like, oh, I love this song. So we can jive with that, but I agree. And honestly, Skillet, running to Skillet, I could see that would be very motivating. Yes. I could have cross-country run to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I was distance, 3 to 5K. Not like some of the diehard running fans that are out there, but it felt so good. And so then I think because I had that experience, now I'm like, I love it. And we started listening because I was like, Ian, you haven't heard some of the OG songs. So we put
those on. I was like, yeah, I've heard
those on. And he has been exposed to them. But I'm like, you're going to enjoy the concert if you know the songs more going into it. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm back in grade 11 again, listening to these music songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear men at work and I'm grade 7 walking to school.
Yeah. I know exactly who that is. I don't know if that dates me or not, but I do know who they are.
Yeah.
You were little when they were popular.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. sometimes I get bandwagoner, sometimes I'm
Mhm.
not, sometimes I'm just a dead fan. Certainly MotoGP, motorcycle racing, huge fan, love it. Get right into it. Follow everything on social medias, make sure I'm up to date with what's all going on, what's happening, and
Mhm.
just really, really enjoy it. My dad does too, so it's something that we kind of share, which is a lot of fun. So we get to see each other. He's got any news that maybe I haven't seen, and so it does expand the experience, I guess, with that. Yeah, sports, hockey, certainly hockey fan.
Mhm.
Neither team is somebody I cheer for. One is an arch nemesis to the team I do cheer for that didn't even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
But I'm cheering for them because I'm on board with Canada, so we gotta bring it home. It's been
too
since
long.
1985 was the last time a Canadian team won the cup. So
sad.
that's before I was even born. So
Yeah.
really rooting that we see it, right?
I think we need new stats. How many Canadians are on the team that won?
Yes.
Help us feel
Well,
better.
surprisingly, I would say 70% of both teams combined is Canadian.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Canadians on the teams, but
Yeah.
a Canadian team to win it, I think, would be a lot of fun. So
Yes. We'll find out tomorrow.
We'll find out tomorrow. So yeah, so let us know, guys. What kind of things are you fans of? Are you fans of sports? Are you fans of maybe specific social media people that maybe recipes or interesting ideas or things like that? Let us know what you're a fan of, who you're a fan of. We of course would love to hear that. So with this idea of a fan, so what are some differences between a fan and a follower? What does that look like to be a follower of Jesus and not just a fan? I know she touched on this in her message about fan and follower.
All I could think about is I don't follow anybody on YouTube or Facebook, or I am not a follower. I do not subscribe. I'm really bad with all of those things. So I realize like I'm more of a fan piece in a lot of my worlds. Like I'm even thinking about things I could sign up for. I often don't. So it's just kind of like, I like you, but I'll look at you when I'm ready or interested or happen to catch something that's interesting, like sign up for this email or right. When you're really a follower, you're just trying to dive into all of those things deeper and be the latest. And I realize that I'm really not much of a follower when it comes to some of those things.
Yeah.
Which is different from my faith because from a very early age, definitely a follower. Like just thankful for the upbringing my parents gave me where these were the things that we did. And I've been very committed for most of my life. So it's interesting. Like, that's what a follower means because you're invested, you're committed, you show up, you do different things. So it's made me think like I need to stop dabbling in some other areas and be a little bit more focused.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think too, like a follower, you actually have to know who you're following versus a fan. Okay, this might be bad, but I can't tell you who the names of like the guitarist and the band, the drummer and like the band members of Skillet, but I am a fan of them because I appreciate their music. Yeah. However, Jesus, I would say I'm a follower of him, and so I feel like I know him at a very different level than I do the band Skillet, or I'm a fan of some of the Instagram influencers on social media, and so I kind of watch what they're doing, but I could tell you there's one guy I appreciate because he talks about diabetes, and I'm a diabetic, so I could tell you his name, but his family members, I don't know. I don't know him well. But then if I I want to follow Jesus, so like you have to know Jesus because you have to know where you're going, what you're doing. If Jesus were in this situation, he wanted to do it this way. I want to follow Jesus, so how would he respond to dictate like how would I respond? Like it's a more intimate relationship. And I think Priscilla actually touched on this through the message that you have to know who Jesus is to be able to follow him.
Yeah, fans and followers, it's very different. It's a different level of knowledge commitment over one or the other. And yeah, she really did touch on that well. I think being a fan is great, and you can be a fan, you can cheer, you can, be, woo, this is great. But as you were kind of saying, it's not like you know them on a very intimate level.
Yeah.
or a more personal level. It's very just kind of on the surface. And there's certainly Christians like that. Oh yeah, woo, Jesus is great, but really don't invest any time or effort or anything into actually trying to build a relationship to become a follower.
Yeah.
They're a fan and they can cheer, oh, Jesus is great, I like what he stands for, but really doesn't make any more effort after that. Where the follower, I think exactly in the scripture today, was denying, taking up your cross. I think that's the big difference there, is you need to be denying yourself things, whatever those things are, that maybe you find tempting or maybe you're a fan of. Sometimes you have to give that stuff up to spend the time devoted to what Christ is asking you to do, right? And I think that's kind of what it looks, that's the difference, is you have to be able to deny yourself and then carry Christ with you wherever you go. And you have to show that, as again, we've talked in previous episodes about light and salt and what does that look like. And carrying that cross is really that light. You're putting that on you and you are going, that's coming with you everywhere. You need to be that light for people to see. And denying yourself some of the other things that maybe we would find are good or enjoyable.
Yeah. Or comfortable.
Comfortable,
Makes me feel good in the moment.
But not really productive.
Yeah.
In that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we can get ourselves lost in those comfort, those nice, those good things, which they may not be bad. They just aren't the best.
Well, and I'm thinking as you guys are talking, you know, to be a follower of Taylor Swift opposed to a fan of Taylor Swift. Like there are followers who like saved up money, sacrificed Starbucks and things and flew to Paris and saw her live and flew back and risked and did all of those things because they were a true follower. And when you look at the commitment of what that means, if you look at any type of definition of follower, you're all in. Right? If you're really a follower.
Regardless of the cost. Even if it gets really hard, you just keep going after it.
Yeah, because there's people who will buy football tickets or drive to see a race or right? Yeah.
You'll make the effort because you're a follower.
Yeah. And the sacrifice.
And that's actually interesting. The effort, I think the effort is the key to that.
Yeah.
Is how is the effort. You're willing to put in the effort, sacrifice time, finances, whatever it is, to be there.
Yeah.
And you look at the disciples and some of them like giving up like everything they knew.
Jobs, houses, relationships with parents.
Like everything.
Everything.
Literally everything to follow, right? And Jesus kind of talked about that a little in scriptures, kind of in that reading, about, you know, you're gonna have to leave things, you're gonna have to drop stuff, you're gonna have to give things up to really become a disciple, right? You can follow me. Yeah. You can be a fan, but if you really want to be a disciple, and he was talking about that in there, that if you want to be the disciple, this is what you got to do. Yeah. And it's making that transition to, are you going to become the follower, not just the fan? Yeah. I think that's exactly it. It's effort and sacrifice is what changes between being that fan or follower. Yeah. I think we can easily relate to that. Sometimes we can become huge followers of music artists. We can become influencers, sports teams, anything like that. We can become followers, and we're devoted to being at every game, spending the money to be there, traveling to go see them in different places. Like, just we really do that.
You want to be where they are because you want to be with them if you're a follower.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what we need to do as followers of Christ, is we need to be there, giving up things we love for things we love more, right? And I know we discussed that's one of our values, is giving up things that we love for things we love more. And again, it's not that those things aren't bad. It's not that those are bad things. They're just not the most productive or maybe the best things we could be doing. Yeah. And sometimes that's hard because that puts us out of our comfort zone. Yeah. Right. And it really gets us out of where we want to be. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's why being in a community is so important, because it's so much easier to follow something like Jesus and be reminded why I'm doing this. Like, there's a spiritual battle going on inside of everybody where I wake up one day and I decided I'm a fully devoted follower of Christ. I'm going to be following Jesus today. I'm doing the right thing. And then by 10 in the morning, I realize actually I don't feel much of like a follower right now. I made a huge mistake, said something I didn't mean, something happened. And then just because I made one mistake doesn't mean the wheels have fallen off the bus, so let's just stop.
Yeah.
Let's keep going with it. But I think we need other people around us to be encouraging us, to be like, oh, you know what, Leanne, yeah, I'm sorry. That sucked. That was hard. But not all is lost.
Yep.
God is still with you. He still loves you. We need those reminders.
Yeah. Yeah. The community is a big part of that because, without a community of people around you, it will certainly make it harder to be a devoted follower.
Yes.
When you don't have support or encouragement.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the analogy that Christ's church is the hope of the world. Right?
Yeah.
And through all we know each other's stories because we're doing life together. And I think about when we've hit those really hard moments in life, those hard moments we've shared, right? So that it doesn't feel as crushing. The weight doesn't seem as overwhelming. And then those opportunities we've had to celebrate things. It just makes it so much better because everybody is really wanting to celebrate those moments, which makes it better. And so, to recognize we're created for community and how important it is. And you can be a part of a community of people who love God, love each other, despite our imperfections.
Yeah. It makes sense trying to be a follower, a solo follower.
You can't do it.
Would be extremely difficult. It's easy to be a solo fan.
Yes.
It's easy to be a fan by yourself, but a follower by yourself would be extremely difficult. That'd be extremely challenging because the hardships and things that you will face, you have no support there to help you get through those. Right?
And God doesn't want you to live that way,
no,
right?
No, it doesn't want you to live that way at all. And that's, I think that's another good piece to that puzzle of what the follower looks like.
Yeah.
It's not one answer's it. There's a lot of pieces to it to really make a true follower, what that looks like. It's community, it's relationship, it's being, focused on God and his word and what he says and how do you bring that through your life? Not necessarily that I'm just this is it, this one piece and I'm a follower. And I think you need those multiple pieces.
Yeah.
So, well, surprisingly, we've blown through our time. But again, great conversation. Of course, we enjoy doing this, and I hope you out there have the same feeling that how important this community, this is discussing of the message each and every week. And it's a great way to start a life group. You two friends, kind of like this, you can start a life group and have this exact conversation with them and be able to just dive deeper into the message each and every week that, of course, are available. Yeah. So I encourage you guys to do that, look into that, let us know, leave a comment if you have more questions about what a life group looks like, because we would, of course, love to get some of that material, some of that stuff into your hands so you can start doing this all by yourself. And, of course, we want to thank the tech team behind us, making this, of course, possible and available for you guys each and every week. And, of course, we want to remember, whoever finds God
finds life.